Hey guys, what's up? It is your friendly neighborhood Oogoos here, back again with another Isaac Bring run. This time we're starting with Spoonbender. There's the seed, and let's go. We got Curse of the Unknown on the first floor, which is suddenly terrifying. Okay, so I have one heart left. Alright. Yeah, that was immediately terrifying, in fact. So, whoops. Although it wouldn't be, oh god, it wouldn't be any less terrifying if I were to know my hit points, except for the possibility of me being, well, I guess, instead of the fact that, you know what, fuck it. I'm not even going to finish the sentence. I fucked it up too many times. There's really no going back at this point. What I said was inexcusable and nonsensical, so I apologize for it, and we're going to move on from there. So thank you for listening. Thank you for enjoying. And you know what? Have a nice day. I'm not ending the episode. It's just that I felt like I had to mention for you to have a nice day in the event that you stop watching the episode after that complete train wreck of thought process that was going on there just a bit ago. Please just give me red hearts for the love of Christ. This is the problem with hard mode. Like one tiny little flub early on, and everything is gone to shit. Everything's gone to shit. Everything's gone to shit. This is my new song that I'm only making because I'm panicking. I really do have no fucking idea why. Whenever I panic, I do like fucking scat, you know? I start panicking and I just go, and then I don't know what to do. I've lost control, you know? It sucks. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm a panic scat man. Oh my god, don't you dare. Jesus! Alright, well, let's fight a boss. Okay, it's not the Haunt. It's pretty bad, though. This guy might be second place for bosses that will likely hit me exactly once. In the cellar, this guy's up there, for sure. Headless Horseman sucks. I mean, it's nice and, you know, with the theme of Halloween coming up and shit, so that's cool. But, you know, fuck off forever, Headless Horseman. That'd be cool, too. I would appreciate that, personally. If you could just fuck off forever and stop it with your goddamn incredibly slow floating over towards my region. This is my zone, and I'm not a fan of it. Jesus Christ! Just, God, shit, give me health in any variety. I'll take whatever you want to give me when it comes to health. I need health. I'm like a crack addict who just needs his goddamn fix. God damn it! I'm fucked, dude. This sucks ass. The worst part is if I do die on like an early floor, like I don't know, let's say basement 2 for example, just as a wild thing thrown about. I won't upload the episode, so if you're watching this, that means I don't die. So that's cool, right? Why? You know what, like, that's cool and all, and I appreciate the small rock, the gift of the damage and shit, but like, come on, man. Couldn't have been Spirit Hearts in the one goddamn location in this entire run that's actually given me an opportunity to get hit points. It had to be not the hit, but well, it's better than a, you know, it's better than a golden chest. It could have been worse. So clearly I need to just shut up about the whole thing because it could have been worse, right? That's how it works, right? If somebody else has a worse situation, then you have literally no right to complain at all. So you know, I'm done. Sorry guys. Whoops. I shouldn't have opened my goddamn filthy, disgusting, gigantic nerd mouth. I'm gonna blow up the machines in the arcade. I don't feel like I have a chance in this run without a little bit of health. Well, the money's sweet. That kind of just redid everything. This is the worst vending machine of all time. You're my favorite. Oh my god, 3 Skull Monty. You're my literal favorite. This vending machine sucks ass, though. I'll be completely honest with you. Yeah, so the vending machine was the worst, but 3 Skull Monty, you're my bro right now. You're like my ultimate broski. My brosaya. King of the broshin. You know what? That's fine. I'll take a fly on one of the fucking... Yeah, no, this is great. This is still an incredible success rate. We're gonna keep going left, dude. Damn. I'll keep going. I got money to spend. Going middle now, you know. Breaking the pattern. It is luck, no matter what. There's no reason to fucking change ever. There's literally none in this circumstance. Which actually, that reminds me. Have you guys? I'm sure you probably have heard of it by now. It's, you know, the most famous fucking bizarre, I guess not thought experiment, but like a very bizarre sort of counterintuitive statistics quote problem. The Monty Hall problem. The name is like, I don't know, I don't fucking know. It was like from the 50s or 60s or something, some TV show. But basically, the whole point is you are given 3 doors. There's a goat behind 2 of the 3 doors, and there's a car behind 1 of the 3 doors. Your job is to pick a door, and after you pick a door, the host will show you one of the 2 doors that you didn't pick. He'll open it up, right? And he'll show you what's behind it. He'll show you that it's a goat, right? So now that you know one of the other doors is a goat, he'll ask, hey, would you like to switch? Keep your door or switch to the other unknown door, right? And a lot of people will think, well, switching will actually just do nothing, right? That makes sense. There's 3 doors at the start. You have a 1 in 3 chance of any single door holding the car. But that's not true. You actually have a 50-50 shot if you switch. How cool is that? It's confusing as shit for most people, though, and it's really hard to describe to people without them getting really upset at you. Trust me, I've tried. But basically, the way it breaks down, right, is... Okay, so essentially, what happens is, if you just look at them as independent events, right, your first door that you choose is a complete shot in the dark, right? So 1 in 3, boom, done, okay? So if you keep, you're still rolling on your 1 in 3 chances, right? So the chance of it being the door that you're sitting on at any time, any individual attempt at this game, the initial door that the person chooses will always be a 1 in 3, right? But the reason it ends up being a 50-50 if you swap, which, again, logically doesn't really make sense considering that you have to, that like, you know, it's still, you're still choosing between 2 doors that each had a 1 in 3. Well, the difference now is that you know for a fact one of the other doors has a goat in it, right? The first door you choose, if you stick with it, nothing changes. It's still a 1 in 3. But if you switch, you're looking at 50-50. Because now, the new problem is you're given 2 doors. One has a goat, one has a car, right? And again, it's very counterintuitive, so I apologize if I'm not describing it well. But always switching will give you the highest probability of winning the game. And that's because, basically, the second choice is informed with the idea that that you already know where a goat is, right? So it actually changes the problem. The initial decision is made without any further information, right? So there you go. Basically, no matter what happens, right? If you started with the car, he can reveal either of the 2 doors, right? If the initial choice you made was the door with a car. Also, my eye is, oh god. Alright, hang on. Sorry, my eye just like lit on fire and now is spewing blood everywhere. We're good now. We're good. But if your initial door had a car in it, right? He can open either of the two other doors, right? Either of the two. And it'll reveal a goat, and then he'll ask, hey, do you want to switch or stay? Now, if you pick a door with a goat, there's only one door he can reveal, right? Because then the other will have the car. You're much more likely to pick a goat on the first go, because you have a 66% chance of hitting a goat on the first attempt, right? And so what'll happen is, in the event of the 66%, then the other door, because now you're down to two doors, the other door will have the car, right? Always. It'll always have the car in the event that you picked a goat, right? If you pick a goat, switching will get you to the car, right? Straight up. So, basically, and then if you have the car, which is a 33% chance, switching will always lose you the car, which is why it balances out to not be, always switching gives you a 66% chance or whatever, you know, the chance of a goat. Switching will give you a 50% chance. Because, you know, it evens out. Basically what you're looking at is, you're rolling dice anyway. But always switching is the highest chance, which is so counterintuitive to how we as people attempt to understand things like statistics and math. But I love it. It's a really cool problem, and it's so cool too because it almost preys on the fact that that people are stubborn as fuck. So, I'm sure it's been studied. This is just from my own observation. But I've definitely noticed that people, in any sort of situation that has to do with randomness, people will prefer to go with, essentially, like a strategy, you know, rather than just leaving it up to chance, even though it's chance. No matter what you do, it's going to be chance. Strategy or not, you're still rolling dice, right? It's still rolling dice. But people, far more often than not, will attempt to employ some variety of a strategy, which is stupid because you're rolling dice. But it just makes them feel better, you know? It's like, oh, you know, I got my lucky way, you know, I gotta before I roll the dice, I gotta blow on them, and then I gotta, you know, like all this weird stuff, and then you gotta roll it in a certain way, like into a box or something, because that's the real way to roll. You're rolling dice. It's unpredictable. No matter what you do, you're not going to impact the way that the dice are being rolled at all. So, I mean, you know, waste your fucking time. I don't really care, but you know, I'm just letting you know that you're wasting your goddamn time, and subsequently wasting the time of everybody at the table. But people love to do that shit. They love to feel in control of their destiny in the events of randomness. And so, because of that, the Monty Hall problem is great because, like, psychologically, you fool yourself into this thing where it's like, you have to stay. Like, you have to keep with your first choice because some part of your brain is telling you that that's just clearly the correct thing to do, without actually, like, putting the thought into it. You just kind of, you convince yourself that you should just keep your first choice, right? Which is weird, because that's also kind of counter to the point I was trying to make. Because now that I think about it, you keep your first choice and you're like, oh, well, it's rolling dice, so it doesn't matter. But that's actually not the case. I've soiled my own point. It's alright, don't worry about it. If you don't think about it, I'm sure give me enough time and I'll be able to complete the connection and everything will be great. Or I won't, and it doesn't really matter. Alright. Sure. Range up is not bad. I'll also buy a key. I'll also buy this. I'll also buy that. I'll also dump this. I mean, regardless, actually, like, anything having to do with, oh god, yes. Anything having to do with chance, people are so bizarre at. Like, chance is such a fucking weird thing for people. Like, when people buy a lottery ticket, do you want to know what people don't do? Choose random numbers. What people do when they pick a lottery, when they buy a lottery ticket and they're filling it out, what they do is they pick numbers that are meaningful to them. Because no matter what you do, it's chance, it's irrelevant, right? The numbers that you choose are irrelevant. Technically, it's completely possible. It's as equally possible for the lottery to pick one string of numbers as any other individual string of numbers, right? It just is. I actually don't know how the lottery works. Are there allowed to be repeat numbers? Because I was going to say it's just as likely for it to be like 7 of the same number as whatever. But if obviously they don't allow repeat numbers, which I think is maybe the case, but I don't know for certain. If they don't allow repeats, then that's meaningless and completely retarded. But if they do allow repeats, that is true. The chance of there being an entire string of 7 of the same number is just as likely as any other individual set of 7 numbers. Which again is fairly counterintuitive. Because people want to think like it's much less likely for the same number to be rolled a lot of times, which is true. You know, if you're let's say you're playing Monopoly. That's a good example. I was playing Monopoly tonight. But let's say you're playing Monopoly and you roll 3 doubles in a row, which gets you into jail, in case you didn't know. That's a very important little Monopoly tidbit for you. If you roll 3 doubles in a row, which means, you know, both dice say the same number, when you get doubles, you get to roll again, and on the 3rd go, if you roll doubles again, then of course you go to jail, because you're speeding or something. But let's say you roll 3 doubles in a row, and it just so happens that the 3 doubles that you rolled were all, let's say, 8. You moved 8 spaces by rolling 2 4s, and then the next roll, you rolled 2 4s and moved 8 spaces, and then on the 3rd roll, the one that puts you into jail, you rolled 2 4s. Well, you're going to think, well, that's very unlikely, and it is. I'm trying to think of the actual, how unlikely it is. My statistics brain has turned off by now, so I apologize. It's fairly unlikely. It's geez, what would it be? Very unlikely. I'm trying to think of it, but I can't. Cause wouldn't it be a 1 in 36 to get 2 4s, right? Cause you have a 1 in 6 for each dice, each die to say 4. So it would be a 1 in 36, right? For that. Oh my god. And then to get it 3 times in a row would be 1 in 36 times 1 in 36 times 1 in 36, right? Very unlikely. I think that's how that math works out. I want to say that's correct, but again, my statistics brain has been turned off for years at this point. Regardless, it's fairly unlikely. Now, getting 3 doubles in a row is of any specific set of 3 doubles in a row is just as unlikely, right? As long as it's specific. So I'm saying you get a pair of 4s, or let's say this, because it's 3 doubles. you get a pair of 3s, then a pair of 2s, then a pair of 1s, right? You'd be like, you probably would think that's more likely than 3 pairs of 4, but in reality, it's exactly the same. Getting any 3 pairs in a row is much more likely than 3 of the same pair, or 3 of any descript pair, or pairs, sorry. But any specific set of 3 pairs in a row is just as unlikely. But obviously, people don't believe that, because it has to be less likely to get 3 of the same pair in a row. But as long as you're specifying specifics, right? Specific. No, as long as you're specifying, then it's just as unlikely. If you are just saying any 3 pairs in a row, then yeah, I mean it's not that unlikely. It's somewhat unlikely, right? Actually, would it be? I'm trying to think. Well, you wouldn't multiply the 1 in 36 by 1 in 36 by 1 in 36, right? There would be something else involved that I can't remember at this point, right? Because there's not only... Don't they just have to match at that point, which means the first die is just like a 1 in 1, and then the second die is like a 1 in 6 or whatever, right? So it would be 1 in 36 times... Or actually, no, now that I'm thinking about it, you know what, I fucked up all the math, it doesn't matter. Because the first, it's obviously you're rolling them simultaneously, but from a statistics perspective, they would be essentially rolled individually, right? And so, if you're looking for a pair of 4s, the chance of a pair of 4s, right? If you're looking from the beginning for it to be a pair of 4s, it is a 1 in 36. But if you're looking for any specifics, I guess, nah, fuck it, I don't need the coin. If you're looking for specifics, or not specifics rather, if you're just looking for general pairs, you have a 1 in 6, right? That's right? Because the first die you roll, of the 2, it's irrelevant what pops up on it, because all you care about is the second die matching it, which means the first die, you always will roll a number, so it's just 1 in 1, right? 100% chance. And then the second die is going to be the 1 in 6. So I guess, no, my first bit was right. If we're talking about specifically 4s from the very beginning, then, yeah. If we're just talking about a pair and then the same pair, then it would be a 1 in 6 times a 1 in 36 times a 1 in 36, right? I think that's right. I think that's right. That seems right. That feels right. I don't know if it's right. My mind's telling me no, but my body. Tell me yes. I think that's right. So yeah, in the event of just getting any 3 pairs in a row, don't you just have a 1 in 6 times a 1 in 6 times a 1 in 6? Which is still not likely, right? Because that's a 1 in 36, so 36 times 6. Shit, I should know this. Let's do 1 step at a time, how about? 30 times 6 is 180, 6 times 6 is 36, 180 plus 36 is 216. So, you have a 1 in 216 chance of rolling 3 doubles in a row, right? But rolling specifically a pair of 4s 3 times in a row is much less likely. To an erroneous degree. To a point that I can't do the mental math. Which isn't hard because my mental math skills are shit. That actually does remind me, though. I saw a pretty cool TED Talk about, I don't know, one of the, like, 88 people in the world that are considered the human calculator. And it was really interesting, because he basically, I mean, it wasn't really, like, a talk, I guess. It was just a TED thing. I mean, he talked. You know, he did do the thing, but it wasn't really a talk about like how he can do it. He kind of, at the very end of the talk, or the show, I don't know what you want to call it. At the very end, he did kind of have like he thought out loud, and it was very bizarre to hear. I mean, he does it basically the same way that you would do mental math. But he's trained himself for a long-ass time, and he has one very distinctly different method from what most people would do, which is to say he uses, what are they called? Mnemonic? Is that what they're called? Mnemonic devices? Sure, let's roll with it. Basically, you remember words, and that helps you remember other things. In his case, he does parts of a problem and then remembers the number that he came to for later, but instead of remembering the specific number, he remembers it as a word. He essentially stores it in his brain as a word. Which is weird because, like, he still has to remember the number, right? He still has the number stored in his brain. Clearly, otherwise he wouldn't be able to remember it when he thought of the word. But it's easier for him to try and, you know, assign it to be a word and then pull it up later by thinking of the word. That's easier for him. And that's very interesting. And it's just such a weird thing. Like, he did a squaring of a, like a 5-digit number or something like that. I think it was a 5-digit. Yeah. He started out by squaring 2-digit numbers and did 3 rapid fire and did it faster than the people he asked to have calculators, which was cool. Oh, Jesus. And then he did 3 digits. I don't remember how many 3-digit numbers he did, but he definitely did some amount. And then he did like a 4-digit. And then he decided to, for the big finale, to do a 5-digit squared, and all of these randomly selected by audience members. So there's no cheatsies or anything. And then he kind of talked through his thought process as he was doing it. And I mean, it was pretty much normal. He just did it, where he you know, essentially broke it up into pieces. Did the biggest part times the biggest part, the smallest part times the smallest part, and then the biggest times the smallest, plus the biggest times the smallest, so biggest times smallest times 2. And then just stuck it all together, right? And, like, that's how you do it, but he did it, like, so fucking fast, and it was hard to follow. And you know, he was saying fucking words mixed in with the numbers, and it got me all kind of confused, and it was very interesting, though. I love to hear about how people describe how their own brains work. That's the cool stuff to me. When people describe how their brains work. Specifically when it comes to things like math or numbers in general. Like the, there was that one dude. He's still around, and it's hard to determine. So this is a thing that's kind of up in the air. Everybody at this point probably knows about the Rain Man, and the Rain Man's sort of, ooh, hell yeah, the Rain Man's gift, I guess, is very cool and very bizarre and really hard to understand. And if you don't know who the Rain Man is, he's basically a crazy savant when it comes to reading and memorization. And because of that, he basically, the place that the name Rain Man comes from is the fact that you'll give him a date in history and, like, I guess a location, presumably. I'm not entirely certain how it's... Whatever. Basically, you give him a date and he tells you what the weather was on that date, right? And that's where Rain Man comes from. And that's just because he reads a lot and has insane memory. And people say photographic memory, but that's not actually a thing. Photographic memory doesn't literally exist. There's just people who are better at remembering via visuals, I guess. Nobody can literally, like, just take a picture of something. That's not an actual thing. It's kind of a misnomer. You can, you know, accomplish similar results, but it's not in the way that photographic memory as a phrase would imply. But yeah, so he has insane memory skills and he reads a lot, and specifically he reads in a very unique way where he actually reads both pages at once and can finish a pair of pages in a matter of seconds, and it's very bizarre. And, like, you know, people are like, oh, bullshit, but, like, you can ask him. You can see him read a book like that, you know, see him read an entire book in, like, an hour, and then you can quiz him on the book, and he'll probably be able to tell you anything, any question that you can have for him. Actually, he's dead now, so I think he's dead, right? Pretty sure he died. So you can't do that anymore. But you could. You would quiz him, and, like, you know, you'd ask him a question, he'd give you the answer, and then he'd give you a page number, just in case you were curious. Right? So he was pretty much insanity. And this guy came about quite a bit after Rain Man, but had a documentary made after him. And basically, it's very bizarre, because the way he's very similar to Rain Man in a few ways. Supposedly, he doesn't have autism, but at the same time, people said it seems likely, but he just hasn't, like, been diagnosed, I guess? I'm not sure. He definitely has, like, tendencies that would make sense for somebody with autism. But anyway, he's really unique because basically the way that he remembers numbers is that numbers to him aren't symbols. They're things. They're objects. Right? I guess they kind of are symbols, but you know, he has this concrete idea of numbers in his brain. So any number, when he thinks of the number, instead of thinking, like, let's say it was, I don't know, 106, right? You tell him 106, and in his brain, he doesn't just think 106, right? He doesn't just see the symbols that we use for 106. In his brain, it creates a very abstract object with a color associated with it, right? That's what happens in his brain when he sees the number. And then when he's doing insane math problems, because obviously everybody who has wonderful talents when it comes to numbers, everybody has to be good at math problems, right? So when he has to do math problems, he comes up with the answer incredibly fast. And this is the part that's really hard to verify, whether or not he's actually just practiced at mental math or if what he's saying is the truth. But what he claims is he thinks of the numbers involved in the problem, right? Like if you're multiplying two numbers, let's say, you know, 106 times 372, right? If that's the problem he's given, he'll think of the abstract objects with colors, and then in his mind they will be next to each other with a space in between, and that space, the thing that fills in that space is the answer to the problem. Whatever the answer to the problem is, that number is the shape in between the two other abstract shapes with a color corresponding as well, presumably like in between the two colors or something. And again, that's very hard to verify because it's possible that he's just doing mental math really fast and he's coming up with some completely ridiculous off-the-wall explanation for it. But if that is true, that's fucking crazy fascinating, right? Like, how sweet is that? That's bizarre. That would mean that, like, theoretically, if that is true, that could potentially mean that, like, any possible number, like, he can essentially articulate in his mind any number that exists, even ones that we technically haven't gotten to yet, that it, you know, we could say, like, it doesn't exist, but obviously we know it exists, it just hasn't, you know, we haven't counted that high or whatever. Because, you know, it's such a weird thing to think about the fact that we just don't know all the numbers, right? Because there's a countably infinite amount of numbers. So we don't know them all. You know, there are numbers we don't know. What are they? Well, we don't know. We know that they're beyond the numbers we do know, but we don't know what they are. We will know what they are if we ever arrive to them. It's not like it's a difficult thing to discover. It just, you know, it takes time and there's really no point. But yeah, he could theoretically, like, have, if he's telling the truth, there's like a database, right, of every possible number just somewhere in his brain, right? And it's sophisticated enough to create these images that actually work, right? It would take, like, an obscene amount of years to teach a computer how to do that sort of thing, right? And this guy's just got a brain that does it. It's weird stuff. And again, you know, I'm very skeptical of it. There's really no way to prove it, which is what makes it so difficult, but, I mean, it's a cool thing to think about. Whether it's true or not, it's neat to think about. PhD won't do anything, except give me one card. It's a cool thing to think about. It's just fascinating. I mean, it's so bizarre too, because I'm definitely somewhat a person who's very skeptical about a lot of stuff, right? That's just how I am. I guess I'm a skeptic. I don't know. But I don't want ever to just be told something, and that's the thing, right? I want it to be explained to me. I want it to be convincing. I want to be possible to arrive at that conclusion on my own. I don't want to just be told something and that's the way it is. Which is why I'm not religious. I don't know. What is that called though? Not what I'm saying that I am / do. What's it called though? Just like you're told something and you're supposed to believe it. It's a dogma, right? Is that? I've never used that word. I know of Dragon's dogma. I think it's a dogma, where it's essentially just like I don't know. It's like an undeniable thing, right? Something like that. Yeah, fuck that shit. I mean, come on, man. You know, if it was based on anything real and finite and, you know, solid and provable, you wouldn't have to just tell me, no, just believe it. You could be able to fucking tell me why it is. Right? You wouldn't just dodge the question. You'd tell me. If I asked somebody like, hey, how do we know that the Earth is however many millions of years old? Well, we can tell you because what we've found so far is samples of rocks that we can date via carbon dating, which works in some way, which I personally actually don't know. Yeah. I don't know if the entire scientific community is explaining that carbon dating is a thing that works and makes sense, then, you know, I believe it. It has to do with half-lives, right? Probably. It must be, right? But yeah, it's like, oh, we found samples that via our proven dating method come from however many million years ago. Oh, well, thanks. That's really helpful. I appreciate that. How old's the Earth? 6,000 years old, or 7,000 years old. How do you know that? A book told me. Excuse me? You heard me. Yeah, I don't know about that. See, I don't know. I'm very skeptical. So that's why, in the event of that guy explaining this incredibly complex process that would take, you know, an obscene amount of years to create a computer program that could do even remotely similar, I'm skeptical as fuck about it. Not saying it's not the case. Just saying, as long as he's not proving it to me, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt, and then I'm gonna eat that salt up, because it's fucking tasty, and I love salt. Did you know that there's salt in fucking everything you eat? How crazy is that? Not really crazy, but there's fucking salt in everything, man. Sodium's one hell of a drug. It's obviously not a drug, it's a joke. Anyway, I'll explain it when you're older. But yeah, like, I kind of understood that there was salt in, like, everything that was made, pretty much, food-wise. And then when I saw a fucking, like, cooking show, and it was like, they were doing baking stuff, right? Like a cake or whatever. And then they put, like, just this fucking big ol' scoop of salt in it. I'm like, salt in cake? I'm sorry? In cake. You put that in cake. Why? You just, and then it's just like, yeah, this is normal. Wait, hey! I don't know about salt and cake, but I guess it's too, I mean, it has, I don't know why, but apparently there is a reason to put salt in a cake when you're baking it. Probably to, like, I don't know, preserve it, to bake it in a specific way. I don't know. It probably does something like that. I don't fucking know. I'm not a baker. I'm not a cook. I'm not a chef. I make ramen. I make some wicked microwave ramen, dude. I'm the fucking best at microwave ramen. Holy shit, am I good. Holy fuck, dude. Also, cereal? Fuck yeah. That shit is my wheelhouse. I can handle cereal and microwave ramen. Fuck yeah, dude. That's my shit. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed that episode. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, do all that good shit, and, you know, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Holy fuck, we're like a week and a half away from Afterbirth. I actually can't wait. I'm gonna have to figure out exactly what time it's actually launching on Steam, and I'm going to make sure that I wake up the second it launches on Steam, that I'm allowed to play it, and then I'm just gonna record for like 10 hours. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think that's the play. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So look forward to that shit. It'll be spaced out over, like, I don't know, probably like 2 days or something. No, but it'll be spaced out. I have kind of described my potential schedule. Like, I want to just do 2 episodes a day at least. And the goal would be one of the 2 episodes every day is a daily run, which means that if I am recording a shitload on the first day, then there's going to be some out-of-sequence shit in the daily runs on the following days. So maybe, I don't know, not sure. Hard to say. But basically there will be like my regular playthrough where I'm trying to unlock shit, learn new shit about the game, and that'll probably go up in the same time slot that this series goes up, so 6 a.m. my time, Central Standard Time. Correct. Superior Time, sorry. And then the daily runs will go up at 6 p.m. 12 hours later. Or 12 hours before the episode on the following day of the regular. Anyway, that'll probably be the schedule. So look forward to 2 videos from me a day, unless you struggle to watch 1 a day, but I don't think that's the case for most of you. I don't know, people seem pretty overwhelmingly positive about this series, and I appreciate it. I enjoy recording this series. Both for me, it's very relaxing, very comforting, I guess. It's just it's a nice thing, it's an enjoyable thing to do, and you guys seem to like it, so win-win, I'd say. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Sorry. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.